Hello, welcome. Welcome. This is the global community for adults who are healing CPTSD. My name is Athena, and I will be facilitating our time together tonight. And I'm so grateful to be here. We've all been showing up here together for did we say it was over 10 years or over 11 years? Over 11 years now. Yeah. About once a week, we get together here, and just so grateful to be able to walk alongside so many of you who are doing the brave work of healing. It really is brave, courageous work. So thank you. Thank you for choosing to be here. Thank you for sharing your lives with all of us. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for allowing me to be in yours. And what we're doing right now, we started several years ago where we read through Melody Beattie's Language of Letting Go, and we did that for a couple of years. And we spent some time with Morgan Harper Nichols and going through her body of work and all of her poetry and all of her beautiful artwork. And then, before this book was published, I was sharing some of my own writings with you, some of my own poetry and meditations, and some of my own artwork and photographs. And now, here we are. We're doing a little bit of a deep dive into different sections of Pete Walker's most recent book titled Holistically Treating Complex PTSD, a Six-Dimensional Approach. And it is such a joy to be here with you. So I'm going to go over and just say hello to everyone who's here. And thank you. This YouTube channel is made possible by you. Specifically, those of you who choose to join us away from social media. This channel is sponsored by the Foundation for Post-Traumatic Healing and Complex Trauma Research. We have a community with support and resources that are made accessible to survivors who don't have access to resources. And everything is facilitated and led from a peer perspective. So it's peer-to-peer. There's no hierarchy. It's a lot like this, but it's away from social media, and it's every day. So thank you for your presence. Thank you for making this YouTube channel possible. I'll put a link in the description section and over in the, where did it go? Over in the chat box. There you go. Hello to you, brave Vanessa. Hello. Hello, Kate. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, Craig. Hello, Framily. Hello to you, Mimosa. Hello, Mary. Hello, Amy Natalia. Hello, Kitty. Hello, Jen. Hello, Ninja Taco. So good to see you, Recovery Buddy. Hello, Nadine. Special thank you to the Blue Wrench crew. Yes. Thank you for making this space a safe enough space. Hello, Merzui. Hello, hello. Aw. You all are my favorite. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. My heart is full. I got to text with my son today a little bit, and they're doing really well in their new spot, and yeah, just being able to connect with the people I care about all on one day. I got to have meetings with colleagues. I got to support my clients. I got to connect with family. I got to be here with you. It's so wonderful. So hello to you, Karen. Karen says hello, everyone. I might have to pop out for a quick FaceTime with my spectacular, now 8-year-old son. Oh my goodness. 8 is such a cute age. My grandson's almost 4, and it's just, oh gosh. I'm looking forward to hopefully being closer physically to them, so that I can spend some more time with my almost 4-year-old grandson, who is also spectacular, just like Karen's son. Oh, almost 9. Not 8, 9. Oh, hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, so good to be here. I usually am working, but I took a mental health day today. Go you. Good for you. That is such excellent self-care, Elizabeth. Seriously. Well, yes, Karen. Of course, your 9-year-old son is booked and busy. Like, they all have these, very full social lives, right? Gotta make time for mama, gotta make time for Nana. So here we are. I'm gonna grab, I want to invite you to get very comfortable. I did make a note of the page. We are on page 309, and we are beginning our section on facilitating somatic repair and development. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome, welcome. Oh, I am so proud of them. Yes. And I'm also proud of my daughter-in-law. She's amazing. She just started her master's program, and she's already a doctor, but she's just started a master's program. And I'm so proud of them. They're just two amazing humans just wanting to heal the planet and help people and help animals. And I feel incredibly lucky, incredibly fortunate, incredibly blessed. Yeah. We are going to be starting here on page 309. I'm going to get a sip of water, and I want to invite you all to get very comfortable. And I want to check on the volume, make sure that you can still hear me okay as I'm reading, and that it's not difficult to hear. How's the volume right now? As I'm speaking right now, I just want to make sure the background music isn't overpowering. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. And if anyone sees John Harvey, please give him some cake for me and tell him that I miss him. And thank you, Ninja Taco, for being here. Oh, that's so weird that it's echoey. It could be that I don't have very much furniture. I never have very much furniture. I'm sort of minimalistic, I guess. But there is a new person that moved in the apartment above me, and there has been a lot of construction sort of sounds going on. So if that's happening while we're here, my apologies in advance. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin on page 309. And as always, I really want to warmly invite you not only to be very comfortable and get very comfortable, and whether that's a pillow or a blanket or some water, some tea, whatever that might be, but I want to remind you and invite you that everything we talk about here is an invitation and not an expectation. And whatever comes up for you while I'm reading, you are warmly invited to share that in the chat box, because your light bulb moments or the things that stood out to you will undoubtedly resonate with others. And this is a space for us to have open discussion. So I really want to encourage you, if you are communicate in your post in the chat box. Like, if you're just needing to be warmly witnessed, mention that. Like, I really would love to be warmly witnessed. This is what I'm experiencing right now. Or if you're just looking for acknowledgement of your lived experience, or if you're looking for validation, then let us know that what you're in search of is, it would be really helpful for me. Is this resonating with anyone? I think I need a little bit of validation. It's okay to ask for these things. And if you're looking for support, remember, this is not crisis care. This is a whole bunch of us, peers, side by side, just choosing to show up together once a week for 11 years. So it's not like we're here to provide any type of service. This is just a gathering of community who's on a similar healing journey, a similar path, we're going in a similar direction. So I want to warmly invite you and remind you that this is a space where your voice is welcome. You are welcome here. We are so glad that you found us. And this space isn't for everyone. We've been having open discussions here in some way, shape, or form, like I said, for over 11 years now. And we go through seasons. What works for one person isn't going to work for another. A lot of direct-to-camera videos and psychoeducational pieces, like just different types of videos on YouTube. Everything is available to you. So please only participate in what feels safe enough and helpful and supportive for your own unique healing journey. So please feel free to share, and thank you for your presence. And here we go, page 309. Pete offers 3 different quotes. The first, now remember, this section is all about sensing into what we're experiencing in the body. We are repairing some of the ways in which our body holds on to our complex trauma from childhood. Okay? It's called Facilitating Somatic Repair and Development, page 309. First quote: "What is without periods of rest will not endure." And that quote is by Ovid. The second quote is from the movie The Godfather. "When the mind suffers, the body cries out." And the third quote from John O'Donohue: "Our bodies know that they belong to life. It's our minds that make our lives so homeless." Yeah. Pete says, when therapists are effective enough at re-stimulating the development of somatic intelligence, survivors grow in their ability to understand that their body is the most valuable possession that they have. Such an awareness often raises their somatic intelligence naturally by motivating them to take care of themselves physically in all the ways that they were neglected as children. I believe that the most important somatic trauma symptom to address is the grave imbalance in the autonomic nervous system between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous systems. With chronic trauma, the sympathetic nervous system often gets locked into a destructive hyperarousal that triggers adrenalization, body armoring, hypervigilance, and high levels of anxiety and cortisol. Sympathetic nervous system extended hyperarousal automatically eliminates access to the balancing parasympathetic nervous system that normally activates rest, relaxation, sleep, and somatic repair. I regularly see survivors who appear to have a 90-10 imbalance of activation of these two systems, as opposed to a healthy 50-50 state of being relatively balanced between being active and passive, doing and resting, striving and relaxing. For the first 40 years of my life, I was way overpolarized to sympathetic nervous system hyperarousal and besieged by chronic problems with my physical health that modern medicine did little to help. I feel so blessed now that I discovered the practices described in this chapter. Decades of embracing them has restored my autonomic nervous system balance and has made me so much healthier at 78 than I was at 48. Therapists who effectively help survivors to balance their autonomic nervous system often profoundly activate the evolution of their somatic intelligence. This, in turn, also aids them to realize that a healthy and nutritious diet contributes mightily to feeling a sense of well-being. After all, a reasonably intelligent person does not put cheap, junk blends of gasoline into an expensive car and expect it to last or function efficiently. Therapists can also aid survivors to develop an understanding of their vital need for good sleep hygiene to aid their overall health and recovery. Therapists can teach survivors that deconstructing the depressed CPTSD feeling of chronic tiredness is aided greatly by getting enough sleep. Chronic tiredness spoils everyone's enjoyment of life and often pushes them into becoming addicted to harmful, stimulating substances to get through the day and to be able to fall asleep at night. Therapists further raise survivors' somatic intelligence by enlightening them about the wisdom of nurturing their physical health with a regimen of stretching and aerobic exercise. Such sensible body care often functions as an insurance policy against premature aging and unnecessary old age decrepitude. Insufficiently exercised human bodies gradually develop serious problems from deteriorating circulation and atrophying joints and musculature that hasten them to an early grave. This is similar to a car that is left for long periods of time in a driveway without enough intermittent rides at highway speed to burn off the engine deposits that weaken its performance and durability. Parallel this to a fat-saturated diet that clogs the body's circulation system. This next section on page 311 is subtitled Physical and Somatic Nurturance in a Healthy Family. Therapists can further enhance somatic growth and development by contrasting parenting that enhances children's somatic intelligence with the damage and somatic arrests that are caused by parental abuse and/or neglect. Therapists can translate this understanding into guiding survivors to awaken and develop their innate but arrested somatic intelligence. Let me re-emphasize here that the emotional and somatic dimensions of all human beings are intricately intertwined and interrelated. The feelings of our emotional intelligence are often interlaced with the sensations of our somatic intelligence. Thus, this chapter explores the emotional somatic interplay that therapists can use to help survivors raise both these vital dimensions of their overall intelligence. Good enough parents provide children with a calm, safe, and supportive home that helps their bodies shift gears easily and appropriately between sympathetic nervous system activeness and parasympathetic nervous system relaxation. Such parents also provide a healthy diet, sleep schedule, hygiene guidance, and plentiful opportunities for playful exercise. They model and guide their children to balance doing and being. This in turn aids them to develop an equilibrium of playing, working, and resting. Put another way, it fosters a complementary, balanced interaction of their sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. This next section is subtitled Somatic Abuse. We're on page 312, and I'm going to pause to just get a sip of water, and I want to gently invite you to check in with your body. Sometimes when we talk about topics like this in depth, we can unknowingly be armoring and forgetting to breathe. We can be tensing our muscles. I want to invite you to just turn your neck left to right, up and down. Just check and see if your jaw has been clenched or your hands, or perhaps you need just a little bit of a stretch. Just check in with yourself. I can't wait to discuss this once we're finished with these next couple of sections. Let me see where we're going to end today. 1 second. We are probably going to end right after our guided mindfulness exercise in feeling fully and sensate focusing, and that will be on page 319. So we have several pages to go, but I'm so excited to discuss all of this with you. As soon as we get there, I'm just going to get a sip of water. Okay, just checking in with yourself, making sure you're breathing. Thank you all for your presence and for being here and for doing the brave work. It takes a lot of courage to face all of this and to sit with it. Starting again on page 312, Pete says, the most common type of somatic abuse is corporal punishment, which dysfunctional parents use to stultify and control their children. In worst case scenarios, this abuse includes face slapping, punching, hair pulling, repetitive hitting, and full-scale beatings. Extended physical abuse typically strands survivors in chronic anxiety and prolonged armoring, especially in social situations. Raging, yelling, and screaming are also forms of somatic abuse, as they typically drive children into chronic sympathetic nervous system arousal. On another front, over-disciplining and over-scheduling children sets the stage for somatic problems. Over time, it can turn them into obsessive-compulsive busyholics and later workaholics. Such survivors often develop long-term physical problems from excessive doing and the stress that it puts on their bodies. This is especially true when they are not allowed any or enough downtime or playtime. Sexual abuse is the most traumatizing somatic and relational abuse. In incestuous families, it can range from lewdly suggestive verbalizations to overtly sexual violations to prolonged incest. This type of abuse creates intense relationship phobia, chronic social anxiety, and hypervigilance. In later life, it causes survivors to become triggered whenever they experience romantic attraction from or even toward another person. Here is a website with great resources for augmenting survivors' recovery work from sexual abuse: www.siawso.org. I'm going to read that through again if someone would like to type that in the chat box for those listening on a replay. The website that will help survivors as a tertiary means of support, as an adjunct with their recovery from sexual abuse. The website is S like Sam, IAWS like Sam, O.org. Pete continues, bottom of page 312. In his book, The Body Keeps the Score, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk describes the full extent of the physiological damage inflicted on survivors of traumatizing childhoods. While the whole picture of this is beyond the scope of this book, considerable attention and advice for healing the traumatized body is supplied below. Top of page 313, subtitled Somatic Neglect. Here are common examples of somatic neglect: poor grooming, unhealthy diet, absence of sleep-promoting routines, lack of comforting touch, and failure to promote physical activities that kept the body healthy. Moreover, excessive use of TV and screens as babysitters can create lifetime addictions to electronic devices. These addictions typically contort the human body into unnatural positions that create posture problems. When these problems persist over the long term, they can result in disabling changes in the spinal curvature. Parents who neglect their children in these ways exacerbate their abandonment depression. Over time, this chronic depression adds on layers of fear and toxic shame, which in turn intensifies their chronic tension and anxiety. The virulent critic that uses their anxiety to inflame its incessant attacks and drive them deeper into dissociation and further out of their bodies. This in turn progressively diminishes their body's capacities to rest, relax, and regenerate, which over time blocks survivors from developing the benefits of the wise Greek maxim, a sound mind is a sound body. Many survivors are not aware of their anxiety. They shield themselves from it with the cloud over chronic dissociation. They dissociate into right brain fantasizing or left brain obsessiveness, or vacillate between the two. This strands them in their heads and totally disconnects them from their bodies, which they never or rarely inhabit. Here is a personal example of my experience of being stuck in my head. Over 40 years ago, when I was still an untreated CPTSD survivor, I remember feeling quite annoyed about an exercise led by my psychology teacher. He told the class, "Bring your awareness into your feet." And I thought, what an idiot. Doesn't he know that your awareness is in your head? Next section, somatization. Not somatization, it's somatization. Somatization, not somatization. Here we go. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm old. Be nice. Be kind. Pete says, effective therapists can also help survivors to deconstruct the trauma-induced, health-afflicting psychological process of somatization. Somatization, is it somatization? I think it's somatization. Somatization typically arises, I'm just guessing here, because it's soma, and soma means body. So somatization. But somatic experiencing puts a soft sound on the A because there's a C after the I. So that's, I think, why I thought it was somatization, but it is somatization. I'm guessing. It's my gut feeling here. Somatization typically arises when CPTSD-inducing families subject children to a continuous stream of attacking and neglecting behaviors. Such behavior traumatizes their bodies as well as their psyches. It forces children to constantly dissociate, armor their bodies, and lose their innate ability to downshift into the relaxation functions of the parasympathetic nervous system. All this squanders the body's vitality and over time creates a somatization process whereby suppressed, accumulated, and unreleased emotional energy gradually transmutes emotional pain into physical pain. Tightened skeletal muscles increase wear and tear on the muscles and joints. Constantly tightened visceral muscles over or underactivate the process of digestion. This in turn causes poor nutrition and wear and tear in the internal organs, which over time can cause physiological damage and disease. Moreover, the undeveloped ability to healthily metabolize anxiety and overwhelming feelings also leads many survivors to self-medicate via overeating. While this may temporarily dissociate them from their somatic and emotional pain, such relief is usually short-lived and paid for via serious problems manifesting in various parts of their bodies. Let me also highlight here the huge role that armoring plays in somatization. Whenever the untreated survivor's psyche senses or imagines danger, all the muscular symptoms, all the muscular systems of the body become activated or triggered into tightening in order to fight or flee the danger. This applies whether the threat is external from other people or internal from the inner critic or from the threat of emerging feelings. This armoring includes the skeletal muscles that are involved in escape responses and the visceral muscles of the alimentary canal, which are programmed to evacuate the contents of the digestive system, vomiting and bowel emptying, so that more energy is available for fight or flight. Now, in this regard, continuous long-term alarming of the alimentary canal causes many survivors to be plagued with digestive problems such as irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and in worst case scenarios, ulcers and colitis. These problems can also be caused or exacerbated by strictly physical factors such as genetic predisposition, poor diet, or food allergies. Therapists can help survivors to deconstruct the potentially lethal processes of somatization and unnecessary armoring with interventions that combine the ongoing development of both somatic and emotional intelligence. Therapists greatly aid survivors when they teach them one of the mindfulness techniques in this or in previous chapters of attuning their awareness to their breathing, their feelings, and or their bodily sensations when they are triggered into a sympathetic nervous system hyperarousal response. With enough practice, survivors can become somatically skilled enough to reduce sympathetic hyperarousal and to invoke parasympathetic relaxation. With even more practice, survivors can learn to balance activation and relaxation in their autonomic nervous system. This occurs as their mindfulness skills evolve enough to metabolize anxiety, decrease armoring, improve digestion, sleep better, and become increasingly adept at managing flashbacks. This then becomes a rare and advanced health-enhancing faculty of their somatic intelligence. That right there, that one paragraph, is the hope that we are all here for in this community. It's why we show up here once a week, week after week, month after month, year after year for over 11 years. This one paragraph. We are building muscle memory in our bodies, in our minds. I'm going to read that paragraph again. Pete says, bottom of page 315, last paragraph. With enough practice, survivors can become somatically skilled enough to reduce sympathetic hyperarousal and to invoke parasympathetic relaxation. With even more practice, survivors can learn to balance activation and relaxation in their autonomic nervous system. This occurs as their mindfulness skills evolve enough to metabolize anxiety, decrease armoring, improve digestion, sleep better, and become increasingly adept at managing flashbacks. This, then, becomes a rare and advanced health-enhancing faculty of their somatic intelligence. Oops, it skipped a page. Here we go. We're on the last two subsections for this evening. Top of page 316, cultivating somatic awareness. In other words, Pete just told us in one paragraph the hope that we have and what it is that we can do, and now he's teaching us how to do it. Pete says, practicing somatic awareness aids the development of an advanced faculty of somatic intelligence. It teaches survivors to stay unreactively present to uncomfortable sensations and feelings in their bodies in a way that metabolizes them. Over time, it enhances their overall health and development. Somatic awareness is the faculty of sensing sensations. It is the process of bringing full attention into perceptible stirrings in the body. It is akin to the feeling process of grieving that was explored in the last chapter. As clients learn to fully focus on detectable sensations in their bodies, they sometimes access memories and feelings of their original traumas. Therapists and clients can mine this material to further flesh out the original abuse and neglect picture. They can also often access ungrieved past pain that is still locked up in their bodies. This unreleased pain can be a major source of somatization and a major contributor to unnecessary armoring. To remedy this, therapists can invite clients to free associate on the sensation and/or the memory. Often, this will therapeutically culminate with the survivor actively grieving this out and/or passively feeling into, digesting, and dissolving it. I lost my place. Whoops. My computer did this thing and I lost my place for a second. One moment. There we go. I hope you can still hear me. Going back a couple of sentences. To remedy this, therapists can invite clients to free associate on the sensation and/or the memory. Often, this will therapeutically culminate with the survivor actively grieving this out and/or passively feeling into, digesting, and dissolving it. I have guided many sessions where survivors free associated to a painful memory by remembering their dire childhood need to repress their feelings. When they did not repress those feelings, they were further traumatized for displaying them around their caretakers. And in one of these sessions, I had a very convincing insight that the human body's somatic intelligence has evolved a homeostatic mechanism of releasing pain through grieving it out so that its energy is not squandered on unnecessary armoring and other sympathetic nervous system processes that fuel somatization. Unfortunately, children in traumatizing families and survivors in early recovery learn quickly not to grieve around those who hate emotional expression. Grieving in such situations is rarely restorative. It frightens one's psyche and body into armoring against emoting. Sadly, when this occurs, opportunities to release and grieve out old unprocessed emotional pain are often lost. However, once the survivor masters the somatic awareness process of silently metabolizing pain via fully feeling it, they can capitalize on such opportunities to reactivate their parasympathetic nervous system relaxation response. The recovery of autonomic nervous system balance is a key faculty of developing somatic intelligence. Moreover, this balance is enhanced when sufficiently developed emotional intelligence aids survivors to increasingly grieve out their unworked through past or present pain. It is enhanced even more when cognitive intelligence evolves to the level of blocking the inner critic from triggering anxiety-inducing flashbacks. And the last section of the evening, a guided mindfulness exercise in fully feeling and sensate focusing. Pete says, bottom of page 317, the fourth grieving process, fully feeling, releases armoring and sympathetic hyperarousal meditatively in a more gradual and subtle way. Many somatic therapies treat excessive sympathetic arousal by helping survivors to redirect their awareness out of the prison of their obsessing and or dissociating minds into an expanding awareness of their bodies, sensations, and feelings. Fully feeling, the fourth process of grieving, explored in the last chapter, or if you're here with us on Monday, the last 3 or 4 weeks. This fourth process teaches survivors to let go of tension and relax all their smooth and skeletal muscles. This includes the chronically armored muscles of their heads and necks, and especially those of the eyes, face, throat, and jaws. And with enough practice, fully feeling can also relax the alimentary canal. To cultivate arrested, fully feeling, and sensate awareness, therapists can use this guided mindfulness exercise in sensate focusing to help clients increase their somatic awareness. So if you're not already, please get fully comfortable. Allow yourself to just be with your breath for a moment. We're at the top of page 318, and Pete is going to guide us through the process that helped him heal 40 years of armoring. Pete says, close your eyes and focus fully on your torso for a few moments. Now, spend a few more moments finding and feeling the bodily sensations that come into your awareness as you focus on your deep and slow in-breaths and out-breaths. Now, find the most dominant sensation in your torso. And once you locate this, imagine that you are breathing directly into it. Now, fully sense and feel it for a few moments. Continue focusing on the sensation and notice whether it increases, subsides, gradually disappears, or stays the same. Linger with the sensing of the sensation, and when and if thoughts arise or come up, just simply label them as thinking and gently return to sensing. Try to experience your sensate focusing as having a rest from thinking. Now, spend a few moments imagining and experiencing your relaxed somatic awareness as gently spreading throughout your body from your torso in all directions. Now, let us spend a few more moments imagining and experiencing that you are fully awakening and merging with a relaxed somatic awareness of your whole body all at once. With enough practice, survivors can learn to quietly digest and dissolve uncomfortable sensations, anxiety, or physical tension simply by fully focusing on them. And since feelings and sensations are intricately intertwined, the sensing, feeling through function of somatic awareness can therapeutically open into the active process of grieving. Therapists can encourage clients to welcome their emotions and actively grieve at such times. There are 2 more scripts that promote this at the beginning of Chapter 8, titled Guided Mindfulness and Illicit Emoting. I think we may have read through one of those, 8 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, bottom of page 318, Pete says, once again, sensate focusing may therapeutically bring up an unworked through memory along with the painful feelings that accompanied the event being remembered. It is wise to take advantage of this opportunity to release that pain through therapeutically grieving it out. Then, once grieving is complete, it is beneficial to return to sensate focusing alone to further enhance the development of pure somatic awareness. For clearer and more detailed guidance on this type of meditation, see psychologist Jack Kornfield's A Path with Heart. Here also are other effective somatic techniques that therapists can investigate to improve their own abilities to help clients remember their arrested somatic development. Number 1, systemic relaxation. Number 2, somatic experiencing. Number 3, Hakomi. Number 4, yoga. And various meditative techniques that focus on attending to one's breath. So next week, we are going to begin at the bottom of page 319, and we will read all the way through to page 332. So it'll be very similar to what we did tonight, maybe even just a little bit longer. So again, we will begin on page 319 next week, in case I forget. And I don't want to forget that quote that I wanted to share with everyone on page 315. There we go. So, yeah, 319. So I can't wait to learn how that landed for you. And I really hope that the reading tonight... Hello, Midnight Blue. I didn't get a chance to say hello to you earlier. Good night, Brave Vanessa. So I really hope that what we read through this evening is helpful and supportive for you. Hello, Lisa Marie. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you earlier. Good night to you as well. Hello, John Harvey. I brought you some cake. And good night to you as well. Yeah, only what is helpful. Exactly, Jeffrey Sherman. Absolutely. It's okay, Kitty. It's okay. Hello, Candida. I didn't say hi to you earlier. It's so good to see you. Well, I just want to share before we hang up, as though we're on the phone, before we hang up, I'm dating myself. Before we end our time together this evening, I want you to know that in preparation for this evening, I was able to just sit with what Pete is sharing with us this week. And I really can't emphasize this enough. I don't really have proper human English words to describe this, but I have been on this journey lately for 4 years, 4 years tomorrow, of really doing all of the things that Pete talks about at the bottom of page 315. And I don't know if you all have noticed a shift in my awareness, my countenance, my level of presence. But what I've been doing, even more intentionally with the help of the Insight Timer app over the past 2 years, is I have developed a daily mindfulness practice, and I've been just seeing if I just wanted to test it out. I wanted to know what all of the rage about, what all of the hoopla was around being fully present and sensing into the body and being able to all love and light to everyone leaving. I have noticed, Athena. Thank you for seeing me, Kate. Thank you. I can't I can't tell you. My hand is on my heart. I can't tell you how much that means to me, because these past 4 years have been so transitional and transformational. And I can honestly say that the last 2 years of me cultivating this mindfulness practice, it has made a huge difference. Like, I'm able to do all of the things um, that we were discussing on page 215. I've been able to sleep better, and my digestion has been better, and my body doesn't hurt as much, and I'm just just so grateful for it. So thank you all so very much. It looks like I lost you all. I'm so sorry. Darn it. I was trying to share from my heart and just share with you that this mindfulness practice that I've been cultivating over the last couple years has really been a game changer for me. I've been using the Insight Timer app, and it helps me track my progress. Oh, I'm still here. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, Nadine. Yeah, so I really, I, I've noticed a huge difference in the way I feel and in the ways I'm showing up in my relationships. So I don't know about you, but part of my CPTSD and my journey has been finding ways to show up that work, like, for everyone, right? Like, I'm more present and responsive to myself and others, and I'm far less reactive. And I think it was someone here on a Monday night that mentioned, or maybe it was, no, I think it was actually during a daily recovery support call over on Circle. So, oh, by the way, I need to post the link. I always forget. Here's a link to join us away from social media. So, someone mentioned either here or over on a daily recovery support call that there has been a huge shift in me, and that it was perhaps brought on by the birth of my grandson. How astute, how insightful, how brilliant, how completely and totally attuned and spot on this person was. It might have been you, Nadine. It may have been Regina. And what it was is, right after he was born, I was there and I was meeting him for the first time. He was just a few weeks old. And I was there and I spent every waking moment with him that I possibly could. And toward the end of my visit, on the very last day, I noticed that my daughter-in-law was out of dish soap. And she loved this dish soap because it was her favorite color. It was this turquoise blue. And it smelled beautiful. It smelled like Gain, that detergent. It had this beautiful, clean scent that she loved. And I noticed she was out of it. And I noticed they've just been so full with brand new baby. He's just a few weeks old. And so I spent the morning driving around the island in desperate search of the biggest container of this detergent that I could find. And I finally found it at a Target, but they didn't open until 7 a.m. and I had a flight that morning, but I waited outside until they opened. I walked in, I was their first customer. I got the detergent, and I had spent the previous hour at a coffee shop writing my grandson a little note so that he could read it someday, letting him know how just overjoyed and in love I was with meeting him for the very first time. I told him in this card, this little letter that I wrote him, just how I flew on an airplane and I was so excited to see him and hold him and meet him, and I just couldn't wait for him to be able to read it someday, and I was just, you know, waiting for Target to open so that I could buy the detergent that I just wanted to get for my daughter-in-law, because they were so tired from having just a brand new baby, and they were just, doing the very best that they could, and I had just spent the whole morning weeping. And I finally get back to the house, and I put the detergent in the kitchen so that they would find it, because they were still sleeping. It was early. It was so early. I left the house at 5:30, hoping that Target opened at 6, but they didn't open till 7. So I just waited outside for an hour so I could get this detergent, because it was the only thing I could do. I was getting on an airplane and I was leaving. Well, there I was, a puddle of tears. I mean, I was in this little sundress that I had slept in, and I was wrinkled, and I had no makeup on, and my face was red from crying, but I had this little letter that I had written my grandson, and I had set up a pile of books and a little outfit and all of this stuff in his little room, and so that they would find it after I was gone. I was staying in his room, and so there I was, just all up in my feels, right? Just all up in my feels, just putting together this little pile of books and treats and toys and a little stuffed elephant and this letter that I wrote and all of it. And I was just so struggling with the thought of getting on an airplane and flying away from that little baby, you know? And, all these thoughts go through your mind. You're like, what if my plane goes down? What if this is the only moment I will have ever spent with him, right? And here I am, all up in my feels. And I'm in the room, and there's a knock at the door, and it's my daughter-in-law. And she had woken up, and she wanted to plan a little photo shoot with me and my grandson, so that she could take pictures of us together outside by the lilycoid bush that she had been taking care of. And I just lost it. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I just can't. I'm sorry. And it crushed her. It hurt her feelings, because she was trying to be so thoughtful. And my son just looked at me, and he was so heartbroken that I had hurt my daughter-in-law. And he just looked at me with so much disappointment and so much hurt and pain. And he drove me to the airport, and I had an opportunity to go in and apologize to my daughter-in-law as I was walking out the door, and just asking for her to please forgive me for just being a mess. She said she forgave me, but I knew that I had harmed her. And we drove to the airport, and my son was just like, Mom, like, that really was not okay. And I was like, oh, I know. And what's also true is I get to have a normal human response to someone surprising me and wanting me to be in a photo shoot after I just spent the morning ugly crying. So, yes, you're right. The impact of my actions was harmful, and it affected Christina. And I'm so deeply sorry for that. And I'm a human having a natural human response. After I had just spent the whole morning crying, I don't want to be on camera, right? So I don't know. I really just came from a reactionary place, and I had so much time to think. I was, on the plane. My plane didn't go down. Spoiler, I survived. And I just had some time to think. I had some time to sit with the harm I caused in my reactionary response. And I decided in that moment that I was going to double and triple and quadruple down on doing whatever I could to do what Pete is trying to teach us in this chapter. And so that's what I did. I focused all my efforts multiple times a week, every week for a couple years in therapy, just doing what I could to be less reactionary and more responsive and more present. And then I dabbled a little bit with the mindfulness and the meditations and all of that, and just decided to go all in on it and be like, you know what? I just need to, yes, oh my gosh, it's what Elizabeth is saying right now. Holding myself with warm regard in my humanness. I didn't know how to do that previously. I just didn't know how to do it. And so I really took a deep dive over the last 2 years into the work of Marshall Bircher. Marshall Bircher, he has a website called healyourcodependency.com. He also has the website Free the Self, FREETHESELF, freetheself.com. He has several hundred free nervous system regulation tools on his YouTube channel. He has been doing this work daily for 13 years. And ever since I stumbled across his work somehow, I just have gone all in. I'm like, that's it. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to harm my daughter-in-law ever again, you know? I don't want to harm my son. I don't want to harm my grandson. And I don't want to harm the people closest to me. I just want to befriend my body so that it feels safe to reside in my body. And I want to do what Elizabeth said. My chat box is frozen. I can't remember what she said, but something about just holding myself. I've learned to hold myself tenderly and warmly and kindly in all of my messiness. All of my messiness. And the result has been what Pete has talked about in this chapter. And I gotta tell you, I don't think there's any one answer to healing CPTSD, because hello, it's complex, it's not simple. If it were simple, it would be called simple PTSD, but it's not. It's called complex PTSD, so therefore the answer is not simple, it's complex. But I will bet everything. I will bet everything I have and even what I don't have, that part of that complexity is doing what Elizabeth said and what Pete is talking about here. Holding ourselves in kindness, in tenderness, in I think what Dr. Kristen Neff calls unconditional warm regard. And it's just, Dr. Kristen Neff also talks about our common humanity and how all of us experience suffering. And that if we can pause and have self-compassion and attune just for a moment of, yes, I am hurting right now. Yes, this is hard. Yes, this is not ideal. And I'm not the first person to experience this. Other people have gone through what I'm going through right now. And it's okay. It doesn't make me a horrible person. May I be kind. May I be gentle. May I experience peace and ease. And that right there is Dr. Kristen Neff's work on the, I think she calls it the moment of self-compassion pause, or I forget what she calls it. It's like a 3-step thing. It's, yes, this is a moment of pain. And I'm not the only person that's ever gone through this. And may I experience peace. May I be kind to myself. And that, along with Marshall Bircher's work that he offers and gives out to the world for free. And then I've also signed up for being present in the group classes that he teaches. But ever since I've been doing that, over the last 2 years, I have not caused harm to my daughter-in-law or my son or those I love. I'm not saying that I haven't harmed anyone ever. I'm just saying that I'm far less reactive and far more responsive. And I'm showing up in ways that work for everyone involved. And I do believe that the answer is in tonight, what Pete shared in the chapter that we read tonight. Seriously. And this space here with you, that we've all been showing up once a week, every week for 11 years, this is muscle memory. This is me not self-abandoning. This is me showing up for me with you. We are doing it. This is what healing feels like. Right? That's why the foundation exists. That's why CPTSD Foundation exists. So that we can do this every day if we have a moment and we have people to do it with. I hope you will join me to do this every day. If not, I will be back here next Monday and every single Monday. And I will continue to show up. And we will continue to do the hard work together, the courageous work together. And we'll probably have a lot of laughs along the way, and especially cake. Right? So here's a link. And I love you all so much. Thank you for warmly witnessing me. Thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for validating my experience. Nadine says, yes, Athena, what you shared tonight from Pete Walker is life-changing. I absolutely agree, Nadine. It really is. It really, 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 really is. Yeah. I'm so proud of each of you. You're here every week. You're doing the hard work. Oh, my hand is on my heart. My heart is so full. I'm sending you all so much love. Until I see you again, whether over on Circle or on Daily Recovery Support or here next Monday, please be extra kind and patient and gentle with yourselves because you're worth it, as Jeffrey Sherman would say. And I'll see you soon. Good night, everyone.